From high atop the battlements of Castle Curmudgeon, where we would never offer betting advice on a big sports ball game, but we are willing to say that in any contest between indigenous noble savages and white bastard settler colonizers, our money is on smallpox. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. Welcome to the Blast Radius. Here is your Decline of Western Civilization news roundup for the work week ending 9 February 2024. Dateline New York, Monday, 5 February. New York Magazine has a theory for why Taylor Swift has won more Album of the Year Grammys than all black female artists combined. And stop me if you've heard this before, but it begins with an R and it ends with acism. I know, it's a lot to take in, but we'll get through this together. The New York Magazine headline read, quote, "Not giving a black woman the Album of the Year? Again? Snooze." The author of the piece, a male-to-female transgender book critic by the name of Andrea Long Chu. Now, we don't make the news, ladies and gentlemen. We just report it. Now, in addition to enriching the human condition with hard-hitting, thought-provoking missives on why giving an award to a white girl is bad because you didn't give it to a black girl, and that's racist, Ms. Long Chu, the artist formerly known as Mr. Long Chu, I don't know, I got nothing, also won last year's Pulitzer Prize for criticism for his combined corpus of writings including long, tortured explanations of how the highest expression of feminism is a dude sticking a tampon up his ass, and his gripping first-person narrative about how being addicted to internet porn made him want to become a woman. No, I am not making any of this up. How badly I wish I was. Dateline Stockholm, Tuesday, 6 February. 3 explosions rocked the Swedish capital in a 4-day period this week, in another touching reminder, as if the Swedes needed one, that mass migration brings nothing but cultural enrichment, and diversity is our strength. After several months of relative calm in the violent, lawless, no-go areas that Swedes used to know as quiet, pleasant neighborhoods in their quiet, pleasant capital city, the Stockholm gang wars exploded back to life this week, no pun intended. And what sorts of people are in these violent street gangs that settle their differences with improvised explosives? Well, we're not allowed to talk about that, really, because we wouldn't want to perpetuate negative stereotypes. So, who knows, it could just be nice blonde Swedish boys who enjoy capping motherfuckers with pipe bombs after hockey practice. There's no way of knowing for sure. Now, the cops say they are quite baffled, and also, please don't kill us. And for those of you who thought Stockholm was hogging all of the cultural enrichment for itself, a further 2 bombings were reported in the northern city of Gavleborg earlier in the week. Police say residents should be on the lookout for a man of nondescript height, weight, and appearance who may or may not be from an immigration background. Also, please don't hurt us or call us racist. End quote. Dateline Carson City, Wednesday, 7 February. Former South Carolina Governor, UN Ambassador, and current delusional windmill-tilting presidential candidate Nikki Quixote had a fun night on Tuesday when, despite being the only actual candidate running in the Nevada Republican caucuses, not only did she fail to win, but she got doubled up, and then some, by a candidate named none of the above. It's like I say, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you write the jokes, sometimes the jokes write themselves. And believe you me, when the final tally is nobody 63%, Nikki Haley 30%, the jokes are most decidedly writing themselves. Speaking of which, I'm suddenly reminded of that claim Nikki made a few weeks ago when she said she was kicked out of a beauty pageant because you had to either be a black girl or a white girl, and she weren't neither one. Now, just a strong brown girl of color trying to make her way in the universe. Anyway, as I stated here on this very segment back in episode number something or other, this sounded to me at the time like a very strange, rather highly implausible claim, and I hope somebody fact checks it. Like what? In South Carolina in 1988, nobody had ever seen a freaking Asian girl before? Well, gosh, this list here says y'all have to be black or white, and we ain't got no third column. I guess y'all brown girls are just fucked, ain't you? Now, this seems like something we might have heard about before the year 2024 is all I'm saying. Seems like there would be lots of other aggrieved, aspiring Asian beauty pageant candidates who got screwed in similar fashion. So this reporter continues to look eagerly forward to that claim being fact-checked good and long and hard and deep. Dateline. Oh, come on. You know what the Dateline is. Gosh, I wonder what news story Cap's going to talk about that happened on Thursday this week. You think he'll talk about the single most disastrously shambolic live primetime presidential press conference in all of American history? The one that was like watching the Hindenburg collide with the Titanic over Hiroshima while Chernobyl watched and touched itself? And folks, you know it's bad when they're shoving Joe Biden out there to take non-pre-screened questions from the press at 7:45 in the evening on a Thursday, when all he wants to do is maybe play a game of chess with Fred from down the hall and then watch a little bit of Wheel of Fortune and then drift off to sleep while reading the National Geographic. And why don't they ever do these kinds of things? Because, well, they might go exactly like this thing went. And even though they had every reason to think it would go as badly as it went, they felt like they had to do it, which is understandable because, let's face it, it's not every day a special counsel issues a final report in which he concludes that, yeah, the president is totally guilty of the criminal conduct that's being alleged, but I'm not going to file charges because he is so mentally enfeebled that he probably wouldn't be judged competent to stand trial. And then the White House says, uh-oh, time to wake some makeup juice, Johnny! Make some wake-up juice, I mean. Don't get me wrong, he held it together pretty good for the first few minutes while he was riding the wave of whatever drug cocktail it is they pump him full of when they need about 10 minutes of convincing semi-lucidity. But let's say the wave crested pretty fast and 15 minutes hadn't gone by before the president was delivering a sobering reminder that denial ain't just a river in Mexico. Dateline Dublin, Friday, 9 February. The Irish national women's basketball team made headlines this week. There's a sentence you never heard before. When they refused to shake hands with the Israeli team prior to their Thursday qualifying match in something called Eurobasket 2025, which presumably is some sort of women's basketball tournament. In the highly mistaken belief that anybody gives a damn, the Ireland team issued a statement explaining their actions, which reads, quote, Basketball Ireland informed FIBA Europe yesterday that as a direct result of recent comments made by Israeli players and coaching staff, including inflammatory and wholly inaccurate accusations of anti-Semitism published on official Israeli Federation channels, that our players will not be partaking in traditional pre-match arrangements with our upcoming opponents. End quote. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I can't say with any degree of certitude what actually happened here, and I don't want to imply that I could ever care. But you know what this sounds like to me? It sounds a little bit like the Ireland players were posting a bunch of anti-Israel crap on social media, as young people often do, and the Israeli players said, hey, shut up, you anti-Semitic bitch! And then the Ireland player said, we won't shake your hand, and it's all your own damn fault. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your Decline of Western Civilization news roundup for the week that culminates with the big sports ball game that we're all not watching. And with that, I pass the controls to my illustrious co-host, the lovely and talented, the one and only, your friend and mine. Put your grateful hands together and make a joyful noise for the Reverend Dr. Caucasian Sasquatch.